Hello and welcome to another lawn clippings video by lawnfawn. Today we are going to be doing the introduction to our set Schoolhouse Backdrops. We are so excited about this. We have so many fun things going on over at our blog June 12th through June 16th, 2011 at lawnfawn.blogspot.com. There's giveaways, there's amazing samples and inspiration from the design team. You just have to go check it out. But today we're going to be talking about this set, Schoolhouse Backdrops. And this one is like teeny tiny backdrops in that it's there to kind of create backdrops and backgrounds, and there's all sorts of different things that you can do with this set. And what's really fun about it is it comes with a ledger type pattern. I call it kind of like the schoolhouse cursive, you know, where you learn cursive when you're a kid. And then kind of the notebook paper. And then just one extra line, which you could use for adding, you know, the red line that's on notebook paper, or just for lines for journaling or anything that you can think of, really. So there's a lot of fun applications to this set. Of course, there's the creating backgrounds we're going to talk about next. But the other really cool thing is for journaling. So especially like these lines here, you could stamp them even like on a fun journaling sticker or in fanciful frames or in the Polaroid, and then you could have the lines to write what you wanted. You could even just stamp the lines just on your layout directly and have a place to write, which I just love. The other cool thing about this is that, and I should have grabbed this, let's see, Quinn's ABCs fits inside this cursive. So it's the cursive one that I call it, the cursive one. So that's so much fun. It looks so cute in there. So, and this is Quinn's ABCs, our alphabet set. So yeah, so I just love this set because it adds, you can add so much texture on your cards, which is just, I think, just a blast. So I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys kind of how I work with this set, and I've stamped out a bunch of different kinds of patterns with you because for you guys ahead of time, because the thing is that this set, you have to lean over it to line it up. There's just no other way to do it. So I don't want you guys to look at my frizzy hair all day. So I'm just going to show you real fast how I like to line it up. I'm taking this ledger one, and I actually really like using this Fisker stamp press, especially for these ones, because they are long, and I feel like this gives you that little play like this. It's got these little foam pads. It gives you this little play just like this that you can do when you're lining it up, and it's got all these great grid lines. So I'm a big fan of this one. So all I do is I just take one of these grid lines here, and I just kind of line it up in the middle of that stamp. So I'm just kind of lining it up with the stamp and just picking it up. And so the next thing here, actually let me grab a smaller piece here. Now, one of the really great things about this set is all of these are 5 3/4 inches long, which means they're longer than the standard 5 1/2 inch wide card, which means no more stamping and then stamping again to do a card front, which I just love so much. But you can continue this pattern, like say you wanted to cover a whole 12 by 12 page with it, you can totally do that too. So that's what, or if you were making a longer card or whatever, so you can continue it, but the nice thing is for that standard size, you don't have to worry about it. So I'm just going to use some old paper distress ink here. I really like using distress inks with these because it kind of creates a subtle background, and when I ink it up, I just kind of go around like this with this ink pad, and I don't worry about inking it up perfectly because we're creating these kind of funky ledger backgrounds, and it's all kind of in this hand-drawn style, so it's not meant to be perfect. So right here, I'm sorry for my head, but I'm just stamping it, and you just stamp the first one, just line the top line up with the top of the paper. And once you have that stamped out straight, then it's so easy to go from there. So, and another thing is sometimes I find it easier to start from the bottom, especially with the notebook paper. So for some reason, I like it that way. So that's another thing to try too. But, so now all we're gonna do is just ink up the stamp again. And we're gonna take this and line up, oh, excuse my hair, line up these lines together, and so you'll kind of be able to tell that it's straight because all of the lines are lining up, and you just press down and voila, it's done. And the cool thing about it is because it is hand stamped or hand drawn, it's not perfect, which means if you don't stamp it completely perfectly, it's okay. So the cool thing about these is you can make these backgrounds be more like foregrounds, right? And just kind of really grab you, be really bright. Or you can do much more subtle. So right here I have two samples. This one I used some light green ink, and then I just distressed it a little bit because I thought that would look kind of cool. And like I missed the ink in some places on purpose just to kind of give it that kind of fun look. And so this is, it's still subtle, but it also could be kind of the main part of your card. Now this right here is super, super subtle. I used the antique linen distress ink on craft, and this just adds this subtle texture. You don't even really think of it as being ledger, it's just texture on the paper, and I love that. I think that's so cool. Oh, I'm not bleeding, by the way, that's just Copic marker. For a second I actually thought I was when I looked at it in the video. Okay, so yeah, this is, you know, it's great texture, and then you could lay, you know, you could lay an image on top of this or a panel and stuff and make your whole card that way. I think this would also really look great on layouts just for that texture in the background on your paper. So those are just two really fun backgrounds to do with this. Something else that you can do with the ledger other than just creating the ledger is you can add texture to images. So I just wanted to show you guys that real fast. I stamped and colored a pinwheel from the Cruising Through Life set, and what I did was this one I stamped in antique linen, so it's super subtle, but you can see it. Just try to get that to focus. There it is. So you can see it just a little bit, and it adds just a little something to the stamped image, which I really like. I think it would look really cool over the critters to give that, like, almost like the fur has texture. Here I stamped it in old paper, so you could see it a little bit more. And I actually really, this is probably my favorite version of the stamped, you know, ledger lines on there. It just gives it a little something, like as if you almost stamped on a slightly patterned paper. So I really like that. And then this one I think is, for me, I was like, oh, this is a little too much. But this one is with the vintage photo, so a much darker distress ink stamped over the same type of colored image. And I think, I mean, it looks pretty cool, actually. You know, like as if you stamped it almost like on a pattern paper. But I'm a fan of this sort of the middle one, the Goldilocks. And then, so these are all the different ones, but it really just adds something, and it can completely change the look of what you're doing with a stamped image. So really, really like that idea. The other thing you could do is you could take pattern papers that you have and add these different lines, either ledger lines or the notebook lines, over it, and kind of give your pattern paper a new life that way. So I just want to show you some other things. Here is like a background here that's just bam, it's out there in your face, looks like notebook paper. What I did was I used tumbled glass distress ink, and I let it be, you know, I didn't want it to be completely perfect, so it kind of has that distress, you know, it's distressy looking. So it's a really, really fun look. I really, really like that. And so you could even go ahead and take, you know, one of these fun border punches. Let's see if I can find one. You know, like these little, you know, these little border punches here. And you could even go ahead and punch out real quick. Oop, I missed one. That's the nice thing about these, is you can just line it up and get it right there. And so you can actually have, like, make this look like it was ripped out of a notebook. And so you just kind of take these and distress them a little bit. And I think that looks really, really cool. It looks like it was pulled out of almost like a reporter's notepad or something. Really, really like that. So that's really fun. And then something really cool that you can do with the notebook lines, excuse me, is you can create really cool grid backgrounds. So you could do one, you know, straight up and down like this, or you can do it on the diagonal. And so I'm going to show you real fast how I did those. I love that there's just so many ways that you can use this stamp, you know, there's just so many cool ways. So right here, have it just like that. I'm going to use some of this green ink here, and I'm going to use a little, it's always nice to have just a scratch paper. Like I take stuff that we print out and then don't need to use anymore, just to have scratch paper so the ink doesn't just get everywhere. So the way to make the lines for the straight up and down is that, I mean, that's what you do. You just go and line this up. I'm going to try to do it without getting my hair in the way, so if it's crooked, that's why. So there's that. And I just ink it up. keep going. Okay, so now I have all of my straight lines going, and so I'm just going to turn the paper 90 degrees and stamp to create my fun grid. This grid looks so cool. This would look really cool as texture across images too. And you could do it, you know, darker on paper like this, or more subtle, like with one of the distressings, just for that kind of background look. And so to do the diagonal one, all I do is, oh, this paper has a little image on the back. Ignore that. So all I do is just, I take the paper and I turn it so that it's at a diagonal, just like that. And then just take the lines and stamp them just that way. And then so you just keep going with it. Now I've got all of these diagonals here, and then all I need to do is just turn it this way and get the diagonals going the other way. And now we have this really fun diagonal grid. So here we've got, you know, this one and then this one. And as you can see, I had the antique linen, I had part of the ledger line stamped. I actually really love that behind this grid even. I think it looks really cool. So you could even layer the different schoolhouse backdrops on top of each other. So that's really, really fun. And then the last line of it is the cursive writing line. And this one just looks so cool. So you could create a background like this, and this just looks fantastic. You know, just 3 on a card. This is, you know, the 5.5 by 3 by 4.25, and I just have the 3 stamped out, and I just think it looks really great as a background. Also, I think it looks fantastic stamped towards the bottom of a card, and then you could have your message in it. This could also be really cute for if you were just, you know, signing a little note, or even on the inside of a card. I think it could be really, really sweet. And then what you can do is you can actually create grids with these. So there's so many cool things that you can do with Schoolhouse Backdrops, and I just love that. I'm just gonna ink this whole stamp up, and flatten that out a little bit there. We're gonna stamp over just like that. And so now all of a sudden we've got that really great notebook paper look, which I think is really, really sweet. So there's that, and of course I got ink on it. I swear lately I've just got ink all over my hands. But anyways, that is Schoolhouse Backdrops. So really, really fun. All the different fun things that you can do with it. You can create really amazing ledger backgrounds like these in all different styles depending on what colors you use and if you distress it or not. It looks fantastic on pattern paper, and also on stamped images. You can add just this slight subtle texture by stamping with a distress ink over your colored image, and it just gives the stamp just a little something extra, I think. Almost like you stamped it on your own custom pattern paper. Then we have this fun notebook line paper here, and we even added a red line because there's a separate line. And so this notebook paper is just adorable. But the other really great thing that you can do with the notebook paper is that you can create these grids, the diagonal grids, and you know, up and down grid paper with it too. So there's so many fun ways. And the notebook paper would also be great to add texture to different stamped images too. I like the idea of doing it on the critters. And then this is the cursive line, which looks fantastic stamped just on one card like that. But it also looks really great. Where is it? Here we go. Stamped just one line like this. I like the idea of this on the inside of a card, and you can kind of sign your name there. And then also you can create these fun grids with it, which is just such a blast. So Schoolhouse Backdrops has so many fun ways that you can use it, and I love the idea of being able to add textures to the backgrounds of your cards, especially if you were then going to put, you know, your stamped image panel on top of that. It just adds a little something extra on the background card. So thank you so much for watching, and we have one more video for you guys tomorrow, so we can't wait to see you over here. Make sure to head on over to the blog and comment and enter to win. Thank you guys so much for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.